right, guys, I have a big announcement coming up here, all right? So make sure that you watch this video, the whole thing, all right? Not 2 minutes of it, not 3 to 5 minutes. Watch the whole thing, please. Please. Let's go. YouTube, what's good, man? It's your boy Darren, and I am the Bow Tie Fragrance Guy on the channel where we talk about fashion, fragrance, and lifestyle. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to make sure you hit that little bell icon as well to get notified anytime I upload new content on the channel. All right, guys, so you'll see the title of today's video. We're going to be jumping into 10 classy fragrances for the classic man in you. And whether or not you dress like I dress pretty much every day in a suit, a shirt, and a tie, I think that there is a classic gentleman somewhere, even if it's deep down somewhere, sometimes, in each and every one of us. And so if you're going to be stepping out, man, and you're stepping out to a black tie kind of event, or just an event where you need to dress in a shirt and tie and be and exude that gentlemanly quality that we all have somewhere deep down on the inside of us, then these are the type of fragrances that I would personally recommend and that I would reach for. Now, when I think about classic fragrances and I think about gentlemanly fragrances, I think about two major genres or categories of fragrances that these kind of scents typically tend to fall in, and that's Fugieras and Chypres. Both of those fragrance categories typically tend to offer a very more traditional masculine, as the name and the title of the video would indicate or allude to, a very gentlemanly kind of scent profile. Now, when you think about your classic Fugieras, lavender, geranium, oak moss, vetiver, again, very masculine kind of notes. And the odd thing, or I think the interesting thing about Fugieras is that originally the Fujiera category of fragrances was originally for females. But now it's, to me, really a primarily masculine kind of scent profile when you talk about your kind of modern day Fujiera fragrances. So you'll see some of those kind of fragrances on this list. And like I said, also you're going to see Chypres on this as well, which is another fragrance category to me that really gives a very masculine scent profile. And usually you'll find notes like oak moss in Chypres as well. So that's what we're going to be getting into today, guys. 10 classy fragrances for the modern day gentleman. And like I said, I also have an announcement. We're going to get into that. I have some big news. So if you want to see what fragrances are on this list and also hear my announcement, then you know the routine, man. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it. Booyah.
The Bow Tie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. I'm going to jump into the video. I have two honorable mentions that I want to mention, man. There's two gentlemen in the fragrance community that have done some great fragrances that I think would fit this kind of category. One being Jeremy Fragrance and the fragrance Black Tie. Now, I have both these fragrances, but I am in the process of rearranging my fragrances because I have so many now, and I have my fragrances in 4 or 5 different places right now. Couldn't put my hand on them when I shot this video, but Jeremy Fragrance did a fragrance called Black Tie that I think is a phenomenal scent, man. It's kind of this smoky, oud kind of base fragrance that, again, when you step out Black Tie, as the name indicates, I think that's an amazing scent. And when you talk about a Fujiera fragrance, a nice Fujiera, Mr. Smelly, who's another fragrance reviewer, did Gravitas pour Homme, which I think is an amazing kind of classic traditional Fujiera kind of scent that I really, really enjoy. And I would definitely mention those two gentlemen's fragrances on a list like this. Look, guys, I'm different from a lot of other reviewers. I don't sit around in groups and talk about other fragrance reviewers. I give props when props are due. I don't hate. On internet stuff, I don't beef, man. So, you know, I know a lot of other reviewers wouldn't be man enough to talk about other fragrance reviewers' fragrances or mention another fragrance reviewer's fragrance when they are really good, but I'm not that guy. I don't hate, never have, never will. So you won't find that over here. I don't beef. You know what I mean? I heard some people say some little things here and there about me and throw shots, but man, I don't care. I could care less, man. It's because at the end of the day, man, in the words of T.O., I love me some me. So that kind of stuff, it don't bother me, man. It rolls off my back. But anyway, I wanted to mention those two gentlemen because, again, I think they have some fragrances that will be good for this particular video. All right, guys, so the first fragrance up on the list today, this fragrance definitely gives me those classic, kind of classy, traditional men's kind of fragrance swag. And this one comes from the House of Creed, and this one is called Bois do Portugal. Bois do Portugal, man. Amazing combination of bergamot, lavender, vetiver, as well as sandalwood. So that sandalwood really rounds this fragrance out, gives it some creaminess, I think a little more of a modern touch. Now this fragrance isn't classified as a Fujiera, but it has a lot of the notes that you will find in a Fujiera. But it's just an amazing scent, man. You talk about class personified. Man, you gotta get your nose on this one from the House of Creed. I think this spice and wood as well as royal oud would any of the three could make this list. But if you talk about the most masculine and most traditional kind of smelling fragrance for a classy gentleman, I think this one wins out. So get your nose on it. If you like those classic kind of scents, I think you'll enjoy this one from the House of Creed. And again, it's called Bois de Portugal. All right, guys, and it's that time. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now, man. The big announcement, the big news. I mentioned this last week, but guys, I have 3 fragrances. Count them, 1, 2, 3. That's right, 3 fragrances that I am working on that will be coming out really, really soon. And sincerely, man, I am super duper excited. What I want to do on this video is give you guys a little bit more details on each of those fragrances so you can kind of know and start to get your mind wrapped around what may be in these fragrances. So the first one, man, I wanted to really do a true signature scent. A true signature scent, man, and I really feel like we were able to accomplish that with this first fragrance. This is one of those fragrances. It is going to be, I think, one that can be worn year round, any season, any reason, any occasion, and this one is going to work. I think we were able to do something that's really, while mass appealing, it does have a very unique quality to it as well. And that's something that I really wanted to make sure that I did, not only with this fragrance, but any fragrance really that has my name associated with it. I want to do things that are, that have their own unique kind of characteristic about it. And we were able to pull that off. And I can't wait for you guys to smell this fragrance. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of the notes in here, this one has lavender. I'm gonna give you all of them, but lavender is in here. You have some orange blossom, some bergamot, some tonka beans, sandalwood, and vanilla. That's all I'm gonna give you right now, but done in a way that I like it. You have that clean lavender in there. That is the note to me, the main note that gives this fragrance that wearability throughout the course of the year. I love the sensuality and sweetness of sandalwood, the creaminess and the musk and vanilla in this fragrance that kind of rounds it out. And I'm telling you right now, guys, this one is going to be one that you're going to want to get your hands on. If you had just did one out of the collection, I think this will be the one that's going to be best for year round. It smells amazing. This fragrance is very, very charismatic. It has a slight gourmand touch to it because of the base notes in it, but it doesn't go at all gourmand. Again, it stays right down the middle because of that lavender that balances this thing out. And I'm telling you right now, guys, you are going to want to get your hands on this bottle. All right, guys, now the second fragrance, you know I have to do a gourmand. I just gotta do a gourmand, man. And this one is a gourmand scent. And this stuff is magical. It has a very unique accord, and I'm not even gonna mention that accord right now. But it's an accord that we created that I've never smelled in any other fragrances. I haven't. I mean, maybe you have. I'm just saying I haven't. And I cannot wait for you guys to get your nose on this one. If you love gourmands, you're gonna love it. Period, point blank, end of discussion. And you're gonna need to get your hands on this one, guys. Coffee, there's a roasted sesame accord in here. And if you think about roasted sesame, think about Monica Cho's The Embrace. They had that roasted sesame accord. We got roasted sesame in here, like I said, coffee, praline, tonka bean. You guys are going to love this fragrance. And again, there's a very secret accord that we created. I'm not going to mention it right now. I'm going to save that for later. But just know, if you like gourmands, you are going to love this fragrance. All right, guys, and last but not least, this particular scent, I wanted to do one that was really good for hot weather or warmer temperatures. Now, the way it is composed, you probably could get away with wearing it into the fall, but it's really more so composed for the warmer temperatures or the warmer seasons. Talking spring, and you're talking the summertime. And just to give you a little bit of information on this one as well, it opens up some of the notes in it. You got some bergamot and you have petit grain. I love petit grain, and I love what it does in fragrances. But to kind of round that out, we gave it some more florals in the heart. I did want this to be a fragrance that if a woman smelled it, she would not be intimidated to wear this scent. So I would definitely say this fragrance is going to be unisex. So ladies, if you're listening, or fellas, you know how we do, man. We can say, I got this for us. You know what I mean? I think this fragrance can kind of have that appeal to it because it has some florals in the heart of it. You're going to get some tuberose in here. You get some orange blossom as well, a little bit of jasmine, but it rounds itself out, man. Again, it kind of pulls it back to that masculine side of things with some oak moss and benzoin on the dry down. That's not all the notes, but that could give you guys a good idea of what this fragrance is. And again, I feel like it's really good to wear in the spring and summer. And that's another one that I can't wait for you guys to get your nose on. But guys, I just want to give you a little bit of information on the 3 fragrances that I'm going to be coming out with. Keep your ears open, your eyes open, and to the streets, because I'll have more information as we get closer to that time, because I want to make sure you guys are some of the first ones to get your nose on these fragrances. All right, guys, so the next fragrance up on the list, this fragrance actually comes from the house of Tom Ford, and this is a modern Fujiera that I love, man. This is called Fujiera d'Argent. And this is from Tom Ford, man. Got a very classic Fujiera feel to it, but it's modernized. Primarily, you get some orange, or very prominent orange note in here with the lavender, and then it has labdanum when it dries down. And that's why it's actually classified as an amber Fujiera, because of that labdanum in here. But guys, if you're looking for something that sometimes you don't like that more traditional smelling fragrance, you don't like it to be overly traditional, that's this right here, because it has a modern twist to it. So check it out from the house of Tom Ford. This is called Fujiera d'Argent. All right, guys, and next up on the list, this is a fragrance that has been talked about a lot, and it's not in either of those categories, but it does feature a note that you find in very classic men's fragrances, which is the note of vetiver, and that's even in the name. From the house of Tom Ford, this is called Gray Vetiver. Gray Vetiver. Oh my gosh, this is so appropriate for office wear. But I would say, you know, again, if you're dressed in a suit and tie, this is just the kind of scent that you want to wear. This is one that any guy could wear and get away with this one and pull it off, because you have that kind of smoky vetiver in this fragrance, but it's brightened up on the top with some nice citruses. Like I said, don't want to go into too much detail with these, but check this one out if you're looking for something for a classy guy. From the house of Tom Ford, again, this is called Gray Vetiver. All right, guys, now this next fragrance is one that not many people talk about, and it's just so crazy, man. I had this fragrance in my collection, and I noticed the late, great Kevin Samuels actually talked about this fragrance on one of his videos. He had taken a trip to New York to Bergdorf Goodmans and picked up this fragrance. It was actually a fragrance that was done exclusively for Bergdorf Goodman in combination with Rose Dove. And this one is just called Goodmans. Goodmans, and this is just a very classy fragrance, man. Not a Fujiera, not a Chypre, but it does feature the note of vetiver. It has a nice citrus opening in this one. Then you get some vetiver, and as Rose does when it dries down, you get some coumarin in this as well, some musk and things of that nature. But this is just a very, very well done, well put together fragrance. And when you think about a classy gentleman, this is the kind of scent that you think about, man. So check this one out, guys. Again, this is from the house of Rose Parfums, a Bergdorf Goodman exclusive, and this one is called Goodmans. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list is one that you know, you have to put this on the list. If you talk about classic fragrances for a classic gentleman, you got to put this on it. I feel like I'm a classic man on right now. Wow. I'll show you this fragrance from the house of Penhaligon. This is Sartorial. And you guys know when you talk about Fujiera scents, I rant and rave about this fragrance for good reason. This is just what a Fujiera is all about. This is what it's all about, man. I won't go into detail. Get your nose on it. From the house of Penhaligon. Again, this one is called Sartorial. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list is definitely not in the category of Chypre or Fujiera. As a matter of fact, this one highlights a note of patchouli, but by name and the way it smells, you would definitely put it into this category for a classic gentleman. And this is from the house of YSL, and this is Tuxedo. Tuxedo, arguably by most people, one of the best uses of patchouli that you're ever going to find in fragrances. This stuff just screams class and sophistication. And again, when I think about stepping out, as the name indicates, and I'm dressed up, especially if you're wearing, as the name indicates, a tuxedo, this fragrance is just going to work well with that kind of aesthetic. So check it out, guys, from the house of YSL. Again, this one is called Tuxedo. All right, guys, now this next fragrance is all in the name, man. This one comes from the house of Maison Margiela, and this one is called At the Barbers. At the Barbers, man. If you want I would say an affordable barber shop scent, which is what we think about when we think classic man, classic gentleman for classy guys, this fragrance right here is going to get the job done. As the name indicates, it smells just like you have stepped into the barber shop. So check this one out from the house of Maison Margiela. Again, this one is called At the Barbers. All right, guys, this next fragrance up, man, listen, this one is a compliment magnet. Trust me, trust me, trust me. It's a fragrance I haven't talked about on the channel before, but it deserves to be talked about from the Chanel Private Collection. This one is called 1957. 1957, and this thing is just really clean. It's clean. It's kind of clean. It's got a little greenness in it as well. But this thing is just good, man. It's magical. It has aldehydes in the top, so it's kind of soapy in that clean white muskiness as well. And then when it dries down, man, a note that I definitely want to mention is a note of honey. It's not prominent, but it gives this fragrance just the right amount of sweetness and musk. I got to mention musk because it's have a very nice musky dry down. But when this dries out, man, when that honey comes in, a little bit sweet, and there's a little vanillic tinge to this one as well, this stuff is magical. Definitely one that you would want to wear if you are a more classy gentleman. So check this one out from the house of Chanel. Again, this one is called 1957. All right, guys. So this next fragrance actually comes from the Christian Dior Private Collection. And this is a nice, gentlemanly scent. And this one is called Bois d'Argent. Bois d'Argent. And this is a really powdery fragrance. This is actually classified as a Chypre, but it's very powdery, man. You get a powdery iris in the opening of this fragrance and some cypress. So immediately it starts to kind of head down that very masculine road. To me, cypress is a very masculine note. And you get a lot of that in this fragrance along with the iris when this opens up. But like I said, as it starts to dry down, man, it just screams classy gentleman with a little hint of a powdery tinge, and there's nothing wrong with that because that really is what this fragrance is all about. So once again, highly recommend this one if you're looking for a classy fragrance from the house of Christian Dior. This is called Bois d'Argent. All right, guys, now this fragrance dates all the way back to the year of 1993, and this has classic Fujiera written all over it, man. From the house of Chanel, this one is called Platinum Egoiste. Platinum Egoiste, and this is one of those fragrances in this category that's been working for gentlemen for a long time. Again, when I want a really classic barbershop kind of feel, this is one of the fragrances that I like to reach for, man. This is just, like I said, what it's all about. It has a classic feel to it, but it's not too classic or too traditional where it feels old. This one, although done in 1993, still to this day has enough of a modern touch to it where it doesn't feel out of place in this day and time. And again, when you talk about these kind of fragrances, this is one that I just really feel like I had to mention Although I know that most people know about this one, I think it's still worth talking about it. Oh man, this is still good. But check it out, guys, from the house of Chanel. Again, this one's called Platinum Egoist. All right, guys, and last but not least, from the house of Armoires. Nobody talks about this fragrance, but it's a nice, clean, soapy, gentleman kind of scent. And this is called Silver. Silver. This one, as well as Gold from Armoires, was done quite some time ago. But again, I love the clean, soapy nature of this fragrance. And it's one that if you're a classy gentleman, you need to get it on your radar. Again, this one is from the house of Armoires, and this is called Silver. All right, guys, that's it, man. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today, as I gave you 10 classy fragrances for the classy gentleman. As always, I appreciate your time and attention to these videos. You don't have to watch, but you do. And I sincerely appreciate that. And don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you share these videos out to some other folks that could use this information or find it entertaining. Because I'm a guy, the bow tie fragrance guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.